Hi, I'm Tim Perry, Senior Content Manager with Multi-Channel Merchant, and I'm with Daryl Logullo, the Director of E-Commerce at Kelly Co. Metal Detectors, and we are at IRCE 2013 talking about some trends that we're seeing in e-commerce here. Daryl, let's say you came to IRCE with a big shopping list of things you want to grab to build your business, and you can do it with an unlimited budget. How would you be spending your time in the exhibit hall then?
There's really three things right now for us. Personalization, I think, is big. Being able to deliver an experience to the customer that's very personalized to their shopping habits. Second thing for us would be more behavioral targeting of people, so understanding more about exactly what they're looking for and doing. That relates to personalization aspect as well too, but there's things we can be doing there with, say, for example, our email program and data segmenting and being able to deliver relevant content to that person. And third, of course, is what everybody I think is looking at, and that's the exciting things going on in mobile.
Speaking of mobile, I know I had a question for you about that, and that's are there certain things you guys are trying to do to attract the mobile shopper, and do you think the mobile shopper is going to start making purchases on their phone as opposed to just going out and showrooming?
Well, they are already doing that. Our trends are showing, and our data shows that we are seeing a very healthy amount of traffic and sales occurring via mobile device, via phone. So what we're trying to do now is just understand as a percentage of sales what that represents, and is there room to grow it and scale it. Because we're in a niche of metal detectors or hobbyists or outdoors and enthusiasts, the device is always with people all the time, so that lends itself to being with them while they're out exploring or treasure hunting or doing these other exciting things they're doing. So we're trying to figure out how we can perhaps use that actual mobile device to enhance the exploring aspect of the hobby.
Now, even though you have a very niche product, but does that exclude you from Cyber Weekend being a big weekend for you? And if it doesn't, what are you guys doing to get ready for Cyber Weekend routine?
No, it doesn't exclude us. We're a pretty healthy Q4 company with Christmas. People buy these units and give these units as Christmas gifts as well too. So we're active, at least on the promotional side, when it comes to the fourth quarter. Setting campaigns, doing things that allow us to be competitive in the marketplace, looking at email, what our email promotional calendars may look like, looking at what our pages and those elements of our pages are going to consist of when it comes to promotions and other things also.
How about social media for you guys? Is that a tool for selling metal detectors, or is it for interacting with the hobbyists?
Yeah, it's interesting. We're seeing both. I would say the interaction aspect has more bandwidth for us, just because the sport lends itself and the hobby lends itself to people wanting to share their stories of what they find, whether they found gold treasure in Florida on the beaches, or whether they were in Connecticut and found old Civil War relics. So the aspect of the social and the sharing part of it is always pretty unique to what we do. That does convert to sales, but our primary driver there is really not to use social as a means of direct response of the sales. It's just enhancing the sport.
I know we just talked about mobile, but let's go back to showrooming. Is that something that's a concern for you guys, or is this something where you're in a position where if somebody is showrooming and trying to find a better deal at, say, Target or Walmart for a metal detector, that you can use that instead as a way of driving traffic back to your site?
It is. We do have a healthy showroom aspect to what we do. We have a retail presence as well, a retail store. So, that aspect of it all kind of plays together from a merchandising point of view. So it's something that we're aware of. I wouldn't say it's a core initiative or strategy, but it's a healthy part of what we do.
If we look back at the front end and back end integration, whether it's with Helico or whether it's other companies you've worked at, have you noticed there's a lot more synergy between the front and the back end in the last few years? And is that something you're seeing right now?
We are, and it's a conscious effort, at least in our company, from a culture point of view, to make sure that both sides understand it's not an us versus them mentality. It's making sure that the folks in my group especially understand the challenges that fulfillment go through when we create promotions that maybe fulfillment can't execute, and fulfillment understands it has a healthy respect for what goes on in marketing. When it comes to them delaying shipping or changing schedules or certain things that they may set to be able to get the goods out to the customer.
Now, the Marketplace Fairness Act is going to pass in some way, shape, or form. How do you feel about the Marketplace Fairness Act? And is this something that you see as a fair or an unfair legislation on small and medium-sized businesses?
I think it's going to face a big challenge. It still has to get through the House. Some people would argue it's unconstitutional because of this tax issue across multiple states. I kind of feel like it's going to overcomplicate things greatly for retailers online, and to some extent it just creates this just kind of mass chaos and confusion. I would be really surprised if it does get through and becomes a law. I'm not in favor of it though, for those reasons, just because it's constitutionally it's questionable with the taxation aspect. How you actually implement it, how somebody like a retailer or us would contend with it. There's a lot of other issues with it, such as, are you then subject to sales tax audit across 40 or 50 different states as well too. So I think there's a lot there to be desired with it.
There's two different schools of thought on that also when it comes to the amount of work that small and medium-sized businesses have to put in. There's some people who are saying, yeah, you just plug in a software and you're all set and good to go, but there's others who are saying there's 9,800 jurisdictions, you would have to fill it out. Have you had the chance to do any kind of homework on that, of like what kind of options there would be for you?
We haven't looked in that much detail on it. I think like everybody, we're kind of waiting and seeing. I do feel like if it does go into effect, it's going to really ask retailers to take a hard look at their pricing structure, because I can't imagine they would implement or allow that law to be followed without small retailers, including ourselves, looking at hard price of whether they're reflecting the additional aspect of what you described through higher prices.
Hey, Daryl, thank you so much for your time today, and enjoy the rest of your time at IRCE.
Thanks, Tim. It's been great.